All right, so here's an alternative tutorial for the LeBron James piece. It's going to be a bit different than the other one. The reason is the looks like the graphics card to use as graphics processor is not actually activated within the Cameo version, and did not realize that until I got on to try to test it out myself. So I'm going to create a different kind of effect. It's not going to be exactly the same, but you'll learn some of the basic techniques. What we're going to do is we're going to open up the LeBron James image. So I'm going to start by going to the special effects folder. Going to grab the LeBron James. And I'm going to duplicate the layer. I'm just pressing Command or Control J. I just like to have a copy just in case. And now what I want to do is I want to select him out of the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start first with this object selection tool. This is a tool that is not in my version of Photoshop, but it is on the Cameo one. If you draw a box around him, what this is going to do is it's going to let Adobe's artificial intelligence attempt to figure out what it is you want to select. So it did a pretty good job, but I noticed when I tried this earlier that it did not get everything. So this is the part where you're going to need to spend a little bit of time to clean up the edges a bit. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, maybe not that much. Second, there we go. I'm holding down the space bar and clicking with my mouse to drag. I just have to be a little more patient because there is a little bit of a lag when using the Cameo Photoshop version. So I'm using the Alt key to subtract from the selection. Now I switched to my lasso to be able to draw with that lasso. So I'm trimming off these areas of the black background. I'm going to use the space bar and click with my mouse. I'm just going to kind of work around the perimeter of the body just to check to see, did I miss anything? I think there's some spots down here. Yep, definitely some spots down here. Now, since I'm using the lasso, I'm going to hold down the Shift key to add. And if I happen to add too much like that, I can just switch to the Alt or the Option key on a Mac and eliminate that area. Going to come down. Notice I missed this yellow part here, so I'm going to add with my Shift key. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to grab this area of the shorts. When I go into grade this, I am going to be looking at your edges quite a bit, so keep an eye on making sure you don't grab too much or that you leave portions out. All right. Clip that just a little bit more. This is the non-glamorous part of photoshopping, the going around and cleaning up all of the edges of your selection. Yeah, like right there. Did a pretty good job, but it did not grab everything. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key. I'm not going to grab it all at one time because if I mess up, I got to start all the way over with my selection. So what I usually do is I drag a little ways, then I come out inside of the body and then just let go. What that does is that allows me to make these selections a little bit faster. It's looking good. Getting inside there. Now I got to come up over here. Now I want to subtract this part because this part right here by his arm has been selected. So I'm going to go through. Say I didn't do a perfect job with that. Mouse kind of moved a little bit. That's fine. I'm going to hold down the Shift key to add. I'm going to do the Shift key to add. Smooth out his elbow a little bit more. I'm going to do the Alt key to subtract. Oops, wrong one. I take that back. I'm going to do Shift to add that in there. There we go. And I'm going to hold down the space bar and move around. That's looking pretty good. I got part of his beard. Excellent. Oop, missed part of his hair, so I'm going to do this. Now, yours might be slightly different. You may have some areas that weren't selected depending on what you were grabbing. Like right over here, I just noticed right by his ear. I want to subtract that part. So make sure you go around the entire body and look to see if there's anything that's missed. Now, you can always go back and make a correction to it, but I would do it soon, like within the next couple steps. So right here, I'm pretty happy with the look of that. So I'm going to go ahead and mask this. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this to a smart object so it doesn't destroy any of the pixels. It'll let me go back and make edits to the mask if I missed something. Now for this next part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and we've got the conversion to smart object. You can tell because there's that little symbol there. We're now going to go do an adjustment to the shadows and highlights. And with these shadow and highlights, what I'm looking to do is, you can kind of see if I bring this back to 0, when I drag this up, you can start to see it's pulling some of the lights out of the shadows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this about 15% and that about 30%. And I'm going to click OK. And then now I want to sharpen it. So I'm going to go to Filter, Sharpen, and I'm going to do Unsharp Mask. What this will do is this will help tighten up the selection. So I'm going to do 100. I'm going to do 150 or so just to tighten it a little bit more and click OK. And then in this next video, I'll show you the next few steps. So go ahead and save what you've got and then be ready for the next one. We're going to continue on from there.